Okay, this is a video discussing how society needs men to look after anything that society needs. In this particular case, the medical field. Now, we're going to look at several articles. This one, why having so many female doctors is hurting the NHS. A provocative but powerful argument from a leading surgeon. It's not provocative. It's just saying the truth that people don't want to hear. Now we're going to be looking through other articles. We're going to talk about how this female doctor retired at 37. She's not even 40 and she retired. And then also this idea of toxic culture, bullied and burnout, why we're failing our female doctors. So these female doctors are showing up in the medical profession. They're retiring 30 years early, and then they're going to brag or gaslight us, I should say, about the fact that they're ill-treated. Sorry, look, everyone, I'm all for early retirement. I would love for everyone to retire early. Yet there are certain fields that we need dedication from people. And doctors is something that we all need. All of us, all our bodies break down. Every one of us eventually. And we need physicians. And we don't want a revolving door if we can get it. And men, guess what? They have to commit to any kind of profession they get into. And women do not. Okay? Now, this particular case, although I'm a feminist, there you go, in the NHS hospital in which I work as a surgeon, some of the best doctors are women, which means most of them are men. This shift of gender balance in medicine is a worrying trend. So this person is admitting that the mass, having a majority of women as doctors damages society. I believe it is creating a serious workforce problems and has profound implications on the way the NHS works. Workforce problems, yeah. What did Esther Vilar say? She said that women do not have to work for a living. And as you can see, this woman retired at 37. Do you think you're going to find a male doctor who retired at 37 years old? I don't think so, unless he won the lottery. For many years, until the 60s, fewer than 10% of British doctors were female. Yeah, because men have to work for a living. Men need to build status so society won't toss them away, and women don't. That's why. These things changed. No, they didn't actually. That's why. If they changed, this woman wouldn't be retiring at a mere 37. For the past 4 decades, about 60% of students selected for training in the UK medical schools have been female. 60%, so over half. So in other words, women were given a leg up. Worthy men have been tossed aside to give women a free pass. And guess what this woman is saying? Now that they're retiring as soon as they can. Okay? Which again is all right by itself, but they're retiring in a profession that society needs. They need someone who's going to be there for the long haul. The effect is being seen. 2012, a total of over 250,000 doctors were registered, right? The male to female ratio was 57 to 43%. However, in its annual report, documented changes in the UK medical register between 2007 and 2012. The most significant change was the number of female doctors under the age of 30 had increased 18%. Why under the age of 30? Because they're giving women a free ride. Right? Indeed, this age group, 61% of the doctors are now women and 39% of the men. Yeah, they're mostly women. And this person is admitting that this is a problem. Okay, that says a lot about women, doesn't it? Okay. I fear this gender imbalance is already having a negative effect. It's an offense too, by the way, everyone. Right. So it's good to have this person admitting. So women being in charge of something that society needs has a negative effect. Thank you for admitting that. The reason that most female doctors end up working part-time, see, they don't have to work, everyone. Women do not have to work, usually in general practice, and then retire early. Exactly. Exactly. I don't know how much I really have to need to read this particular article. And here, again, this woman, if she retired at 57, that would have been early. We're talking about 37. She's not even hitting the 45 mark, right? And she brags this up as a good thing. Now, when we get into the toxic culture, how come this woman got in? They're letting women in majority, and this woman got to retire at age 37. So you know this is going to be gaslighting, absolute gaslighting. And the only thing, well, first of all, I want to get this one here because she says, usually when I tell people I retired from my physician career at age 37, they respond with shock. Yeah, because men have to work until they're done, until retirement age. Some look at me like I am the most foolish person they've ever seen. Some with disdain. This is the proper look, by the way. All that medical education wasted. Exactly. Exactly. This is a waste of education. Men who need to work and will be responsible for upholding society, they'll be tossed aside for these leeches. Now, I'm not going to read a bunch of this because there's only one thing I really want to point out. She gives you a reason why she made it this early, right? Okay. Let's see. Lived well below our means. Do you see the word our? In other words, it wasn't lived well below her means. She married some male provider, and living below their means together means living highly on her own. Like if she lived on her own and worked on her own, she was a single person, this would be a great way to live. That's what happens to these women. They get a male provider and they don't have to work as long. And that's why she was able to live below her means. She was really living at her means. The man was taking up the slack, right? Now that you know that this is the case, this is why I say that this article, Bullied and Burned Out, is gaslighting. You know it's gaslighting from the beginning. Now, this woman, Kadota, actually does point out a problem, is that they tend to burn out doctors. But what's being left out is the fact that she's trying to make it as a female issue when it's gender neutral, right? Not even Wonder Woman could keep going like this. Yeah. And not only Superman could keep up with this, right? She was exhausted, dehydrated, etc., etc. That's true. But whatever she's going through, the men are going through as well. So you can't make this a female issue. There are no women's issues. Every women's issue, other than medical issues, such as breast cancer, they affect both genders equally or men more so, right? Exactly. So everything she's talking about affects the man either equally or more so. Okay. Now look at this right here. Discrimination and the old boys club attitudes have all been cited as reasons why many young doctors give up their dreams of healing the sick and saving lives. These articles tell us that they're letting women in preference to men. So this isn't an old boys club. This is a total lie. It's a lie. And men have to deal with these lies constantly. Okay. Now, look at this. The power imbalance between young female doctors competing for coveted placements in training programs and older, often male doctors. Why are they often male? Because men have to strive to get into the positions. That's why. That's why the men outclass the women. Men have to strive or they're tossed aside, right? Exactly. This female doctor talking, she's obviously under par. Why? Because this woman, this female doctor talking here, she got to retire at age 37. She did all right. So this has nothing to do with being a woman here, right? This is a subpar doctor is what it is, right? Now, surgery, the area which she was hoping to get a career, is known for being particular male dominated. That's right. Men, again, strive. They fight to get into these positions, right? Although 50% of medical graduates are female, women make up only 12% of surgical field. Yeah, men are better at it, everyone. Men are more competent at it. That's why, right? Now, notice her idea of sexism. Sexism is there from the start. Yeah, it's so sexist that the majority of new doctors are women, right? And they get to retire early, right? Okay. Where was I? Sexism is more part of the. During her early years as junior doctor, she says she was frequently overlooked for learning opportunities from senior surgeons in favor of blonder and more conventionally pretty trainees. So is this sexism or is this racism? Because they supposedly, she said, they like the blonder ones, right? If these senior doctors are choosing women on their looks over what they're skilled, obviously none of these women are very skilled, are they? And basically this young lady wasn't as skilled. She wasn't as skilled, and she's blaming on the idea that she was dark-skinned, right? And she calls it sexism instead of racism, right? It's to blame men. And this is going to be a lie you're here. On the flip side, one particular surgeon would hiss at Dakota to take your clothes off in Japanese so no one else would understand. I don't believe this ever happened. Ever. This is a bold-faced lie, right? You really couldn't win. If you're not pretty enough, you don't get chosen. And if you're too pretty and dressed in a certain way, you get sexually harassed. Well, this guy supposedly sexually harassed this woman, right? So she was pretty enough, but she wasn't pretty enough to compete with the blonde, pale-skinned women. Do you see the horse shit that's being spouted in this man-hating article? She's trying to have it both ways. She was sexually harassed, but she wasn't pretty enough to be sexually harassed, right? So I'm going to put the articles in here for you to read, but as you see, I put over the most important parts that make the most important, you know, just a minute. I got to think of the right word. Well, the most important points anyway. This is the gist of the article. In a nutshell, they give women a bump up against or throwing away good male doctors who will be there forever, to hire women who then do everything they can to retire at an early age. And then these women turn on men and blame men for their choices. It's the same old, right? And at this point in the game, I, as a man, have had enough of this. I've had enough of this. If I have something wrong with my body, I want to know there's a doctor there. And we can't trust women on the whole to fill up that gap. This is not responsible. No responsibility is put on their shoulders. Nothing's forced them. These women want to retire as soon as possible. In this case, at 37. People need doctors. They need commitment in the role of physician. Do you understand that? This is the one particular case that, amongst a few others, that I have to say, we can't have you retiring early. We need you. And the female doctors, they can't be relied on. They're not reliable. And frankly, even if they were, men shouldn't be kicked out just because they're men. Okay? Now, thank you.